Hi, I'm Daphne Bramham, Vancouver Sun columnist, and I'm with Harold Munro, the editor-in-chief of the Vancouver Sun and Province. And finally, we're at Election Day. This has been one of the most extraordinary civic election cycles that we've ever seen. We've got hardly any incumbents running. We've had civic parties falling apart. We've got very little money for candidates to spend because of new spending regulations. And we've got a housing crisis. We've got a homelessness crisis. We've got a housing crisis. So what's happening across the region tonight? What are you going to look for?
Right. Well, let's start way out in Maple Ridge, where you've got, again, Nicole Nicole Reid. Yeah, was basically bullied out of office by people through social media and other means. So you have someone, Mike Morden, who's running for mayor. He's saying, let's tear down the homeless camps, let's get tough on it. And Craig Spears running against him, saying, no, we've got to take a proper approach, treat these people fairly. That'll be an interesting race to watch, just see how fed up people are with the homeless situation in a place where you don't necessarily think about homelessness. I'm looking at a place like West Vancouver, complete other end of the spectrum, where you also don't necessarily think about housing affordability being issue, but it's a really big issue there. You have a lot of people who would like to age in place, and there's not affordable housing for them or for their children to live in the city. So that'll be interesting. You have a couple of incumbent councillors running for mayor, and you've got Mark Sager, who used to be mayor of West Vancouver, who's back trying to get the job again. And there's, much like there is in Vancouver, where you're talking about view corridors, there's issues there also around towers and how big you build them and where you build them. But it's an affordability issue, and I think we see the same in Burnaby, Daphne.
Oh, Burnaby. I mean, anybody who's driven through Burnaby, around Burnaby, or looked at Burnaby in any way recently, I mean, the number of towers going up there is just incredible.
Mm-hmm.
The construction there is amazing. And, I don't think there's a day that's gone by in the last year that I haven't got an email from people complaining about the evictions in Burnaby. And Burnaby used to be an affordable place. It used to be a place where actually a lot of refugees and new immigrants would go, because there were a lot of older three-story walk-up apartments and so on. Those are being torn down. And so as a result of that, the mayoralty race there is really a tight one. Derek Corrigan, who used to be invincible, he really is going to have a struggle, I think, tonight. So he's being challenged by people who are saying that we really need to care about the middle income earners. I mean, this is what we're seeing across the region. Really, is this whole concern about the hollowing out of communities and the gentrification and. They don't yet have an empty homes problem in Burnaby, but certainly it looks like some of these issues seem to be spreading further and further and further, as is the homelessness question.
Burnaby is the big surprise for me. 5 consecutive runs where Derek Corrigan was endorsed by the New West District Labour Council. This time around, his opponent, Mike Hurley, got the endorsement. Now, Mayor Corrigan will say that's because Mike Hurley is a recently retired fire chief, and he stacked the selection meetings, endorsement meetings with his firefighter buddies. But I think you're right, there's something more going on here, and we'll see what happens there. And then I'm also interested in what goes on in Delta. I've not seen an election like this where you have a former chief administrative officer, a manager basically, running for mayor.
And practically moments after he took his retirement.
Exactly, and a former police chief, Jim Sesford, being there, and then a city councillor, Sylvia Bishop. So a 3-way race there, and then the former mayor, rather than retiring, Lois Jackson, who's been there forever, is running for council on George Harvey's slate. So, and Delta's another one of those places where you think about it as being a very rich sort of agricultural community, but of course in South Delta you have affordability issues, and again, people whose kids can't afford to live where they grew up. And in North Delta, it's booming on the edge of Surrey, and you see large towers now starting to go up there, and there'll be the usual sort of traffic issues that go along with that as well. So,
and then paradoxically, in the neighboring municipality in Richmond, the issue is McMansions.
Right, on farmland.
On farmland.
Yes,
and
yes.
So Malcolm Brodie has a huge amount of money that he's got over various elections. He's not in any trouble whatsoever.
I can't imagine he is with the name recognition.
the questions there are very interesting. Again, quite different, but again related to housing, and again related to this issue of who actually can afford to live here, and what kind of a place, what kind of neighborhoods are we going to live in. And at the end of the day, this is really what these elections are about tonight. What are our neighborhoods going to look like? What are our communities going to look like? What's our region going to look like? So,
and also, there's a lot of young candidates. I know we had a story recently about a greater number of youthful candidates running in this election. I guess to exemplify that, look at Port Coquitlam, where you have Brad West, who was elected councillor at age 23. That's 3 terms ago now. So he's a wily veteran at 33 running for mayor. And then that's, again, an opening with the retirement of the previous mayor. So he has a good chance. Here's a young guy with a young wife, a young child. Again, he understands firsthand the issues of affordability, so I'll be watching that as well. So lots to watch across the region.
Well, and I think, even for those who don't win, what I think is so extraordinary, I mean, because I vote in Vancouver, I read through 71 of those profiles of the councillors. I read through all of the profiles of the people running for school board and for a park board. And there are some very, very impressive people running. And, even though some of these people are going to may get very few votes tonight, I think that what I hope that they will take from it is that you don't necessarily win the first time, but don't give up, because there's some very talented people running tonight.
Yes, and there's plenty of organizations and places they can volunteer in between elections and participate on some city boards and commissions. So let's hopefully they're not discouraged, because not everybody can be a winner tonight. But we certainly thank all of those who are participating in the election.
And we thank everybody who's gone out to vote.
Yes, get out to vote.